While digging deep to build a subway station, a group of workers discovers a strange cave that smells awful. They go inside to investigate and are shocked to find several piles of garbage covering a huge area. As they look around, they notice the giant spiders sneaking around, and the mysterious tentacle following them further in the back. The group discovers a big sphere that appears to be an egg, but they think it is a gem. Suddenly they are startled by a new presence, but it is just their boss who comes to see what is delaying the construction. Noticing the egg, the boss tells the workers to take it out so they can sell it. Meanwhile, Cheong has wandered off alone after he steps on some strange liquid. His flashlight begins to malfunction and he tries to fix it. Unaware that the light is waking something up, there is a big alligator-like monster rising from the garbage, and Cheong screams when he sees it. He runs back to his group and tries to warn them about the monster, but they can already hear it moving around them. Suddenly, a tentacle reaches out and takes one of the workers away. Everyone starts running in panic as more tentacles keep popping out of the garbage to capture as many humans as possible. Cheong cries when he witnesses his brother being caught too, and the others have to drag him away. The workers exit the cave right before a tentacle hits the garbage and causes the piles to collapse, sealing the entrance. Han and his son Kai are picking up some nails from the ground near the construction site. At that moment, they see a bunch of birds flying away in fear, and a truck comes down the road at great speed. As it escapes from the construction site, Han and his son move out of the way. But when the truck runs over the nails, it shakes and drops some boxes from the truck. But the truck escapes without noticing. When Han opens a box, he finds the egg from the cave, thinking he can sell it for good money. He puts it in his vehicle on the way home. Kai puts his ear against the shell and is scared to hear something moving. But Han thinks he is imagining things. When they arrive at the junkyard, he notices a fancy car parked near his home and his mood instantly drops. He takes off his wedding ring before going inside and finds his ex-wife Lena. She is not happy about her son living in such a dirty place. To make matters worse, her new fiancé Hank has brought a bunch of cool toys for Kai which Han cannot afford. Lena announces she is moving to another province and taking Kai with her so he can have a better future. Hank explains that Kai can take over his company one day as he points out the boy. He should not be picking up trash all day like his father. This angers Han and he punches Hank, which triggers a fight. Lena tries to stop them, but both ignore her and start biting each other like animals. They do not stop until Lena leaves with Kai. Then both Hank and Han follow Lena out. Han's father Akira takes care of his son's wounds while watching TV. A TV reporter reports the missing workers at the construction site, but the TV signal keeps failing. Outside the junkyard, their dog continues walking in circles near the truck. It turns out the egg has started to hatch and is making all the animals in the area go crazy. After some time, the dog starts barking and Akira thinks there might be an intruder. So, he goes outside to investigate, but notices the truck shaking and a strange goo falling out of it. He looks through the window and is shocked to see a tentacle. The terrified Akira runs back inside to tell his son. But by the time Han comes out, the entire truck disappears suddenly. Meanwhile, an object falls to the ground and the men look up to discover the truck has been lifted by a bunch of tentacles. The monster sees the man and immediately retreats into the truck, causing it to fall back to the ground before the guys can react. The tentacles come out again to attack them, but they run back into the house. Han is so scared that he almost leaves his father out when he locks the door. At that moment, they hear a car approaching and are horrified to see it is Lena coming back with the Kai. When Kai tries to reunite with his father, he is quickly captured by a tentacle. Lena immediately grabs her son's arms and tries to pull him out. However, the monster is too strong and does not let go. Luckily, Han arrives with a knife and cuts off the tentacle, freeing Kai. Then the family works together to pour gasoline all over the tentacles and throw a lighter, lighting the monster on fire. The monster screeches in pain as it slowly dies, while Han realizes he lost his chance to make money. As they enter the house, Han wonders how the monster got here, and then Kai tells him that it came out of the egg. At that moment, Hank arrives with his fiancée and bodyguards and sees everyone is fine. To see that everything is all right, Lena's fiancé gets angry at Lena for calling him and interrupting his business meeting. At the same time, the whole place starts shaking and the lights flicker because an even bigger monster appears in the yard. Soon, the house begins to crumble because the tentacles start squeezing the entire building. The roof is broken down and the humans can finally see the monster's terrifying face. It wants to get inside the house with them and begins breaking through the windows, causing everyone to panic. Hank immediately runs away without caring about his fiancée and his bodyguards. The monster roars and starts to throw those men around. Before grabbing Lena, it looks at her closely before throwing her away. Then it turns toward the other family members who try to run away. However, Akira falls, and when Han stops to help him, the monster grabs Kai, pushing both parents away. After sniffing Kai, the monster jumps into the ground and disappears with the child. Han and Lena run to look inside the resulting hole, but somehow it is closed. Lena is left in shock while desperate Han tries to dig the ground with his bare hands. Eventually, he gives up and while sobbing, tries to comfort Lena, who slaps him and pushes him as she has a breakdown. On TV, they continue to talk about the possibility of a monster being on the loose. Hearing this, Lena furiously turns it off. After some time, their grief is interrupted by a professor of marine biology named Darwin and his assistant Al, who have been tracking down the monster with a special device. After asking a bunch of questions with lots of excitement, the professor reveals he is an old friend of Akira's. Then he looks closely at the tentacle and explains that they killed the child of the cave monster. It came looking for its egg. It smelled Kai and thought it was its baby. This means the boy is probably still alive. Meanwhile, Kai wakes up in the garbage cave just in time to push off a huge spider that is about to fall on his face. As he calls for his parents, a mysterious group of insects flies near his head. Then the monster shows up and Kai backs away in fear. The monster opens its outer face shell to reveal a smile. It also licks the kid to calm him down since Kai is still scared and hates the licking. The monster roars in frustration. At that moment, they hear some music and look around in confusion until they realize it is coming from the beast's belly. It seems like the monster has swallowed some electronic device. The monster starts screaming in pain and falls while Kai watches in confusion. Then the monster runs to hide behind the garbage and tries to spit out the machine. Kai tries using the chance to run away, but he cannot find his way out. He sees a radio in the trash and tries to start it, but it does not work. Hearing the monster scream in agony makes Kai feel bad, and he offers to help. Some wires are coming out of the monster's mouth, so Kai starts pulling them until he manages to get the machine out of the monster's body. Feeling instantly better, the monster grabs Kai to thank him for saving its life and then puts him back down before falling on top of the garbage to take a nap at the junkyard. Darwin tells the family they should give up on their son. But Akira reminds the professor that he owes him one favor, after ruining his life when he sued the factory he worked for, causing Akira to lose his job. Feeling guilty, the professor brings the family to his lab where he keeps creepy statues of all the monsters he studies. He thinks that the only way to save Kai is to put the monster to sleep with tranquilizers that are strong enough to knock out animals larger than elephants. The professor also reveals he has developed a chemical that could kill the monster, but it should not be used unless the monster is angry, so it is the last resort. Meanwhile, Chiang cannot stop thinking about all the friends he lost and starts planning his revenge in the cave. Kai watches the monster eat garbage and tries to look for better food, but there is nothing edible around. Kai realizes it eats trash because it is the only thing available. Noticing that, Kai begins throwing the garbage right into its mouth to feed it, which becomes their little game. Kai becomes relaxed and begins playing with it, pretending to be a superhero that brings down a powerful enemy. The monster even falls under Kai's imaginary attack, happy to play along. Sometime later, Kai is napping on the monster's belly, but a worker's footsteps wake him up. He goes to investigate, but that worker grabs him. It is one of the construction workers who wants to kill the monster and save the boy. Kai tells him to stop because the monster does not eat humans. The worker thinks he is delusional and tells him that all his coworkers are dead. Then he tries to approach the monster by sneaking around carefully, dodging all the tentacles. However, the monster senses him anyway, wakes up, and starts chasing him. The worker grabs Kai and starts running away in panic, but in his desperation, he accidentally drops Kai into some wastewater. The monster comes closer, so the worker continues to run away, leaving Kai, who is slowly drowning. While the worker is cornered by the monster, a giant spider begins moving toward him from behind. The monster sees this and furiously roars, causing the spider to run away and the worker to pass out. Then the monster uses its tentacles to easily take Kai out of the water at the last second, gently puts him down on the ground, and tries to wake him up. But Kai does not react and the monster begins to cry. In the meantime, the professor is getting ready in the lab to go looking for the monster with the parents. While waiting in Han's car, Lena finds some strange medicine and a piece of paper with Han's wedding ring. The paper reveals that Hans suffers from a chronic disease. She starts crying. When Han joins her in the car, Lena asks him why he never told her about his illness and wonders if that is why he divorced her. Han says she is imagining things and he only wants to concentrate on spending time with his son. The conversation is interrupted by Akira, who announces it is time to find the monster. When the family arrives at the tunnel, they are surprised to see a group of workers, led by Cheong using explosives to open the cave again. They ask the family to leave because they are about to release some poison to kill the monster. Han begs them not to kill the monster because Kai is probably still alive and the poison will kill him too. As the argument ensues, Cheong points out they cannot let the monster live anymore because it might attack the town too. Han begins scolding him since his plan may kill any survivors as well. Akira uses a distraction to sabotage the workers' gas machine. By pushing through the group of men, the family finally enters the cave. As they wander among the trash piles, the professor uses his device and the group follows its signal. Han finds Kai's shoes on the ground and regains some hope. Eventually, they find the monster next to Kai's body and they think he is dead. The parents try to run to their son, but Akira stops them, pointing out that they cannot fight such a huge monster. The monster can hear them, but it ignores them for now. Then the professor fires the tranquilizer so that the monster easily goes unconscious. Seeing this, the monster roars and puts its mask back on. Han fires a second shot and Lena throws a bottle of the compound directly at it. At first, it looks like the monster is not bothered and it takes a moment to put Kai in a safer location before approaching workers. However, the tranquilizer finally kicks in and the monster falls as it passes out. The parents immediately climb the piles of junk to reach their son. They listen to his heartbeat and find out that he is still alive. Meanwhile, the professor takes a blood sample from a tentacle. To their surprise, the tranquilizer has not worked as expected and the monster wakes up in a very bad mood. It reaches out to rescue Kai from the humans, but its tentacle is stopped by an arrow shot by the workers who surround the monster to kill it. Getting even angrier, the monster begins lashing out, knocking a few men down, refusing to give up. The workers quickly fight back by throwing a bunch of hooks to hold the monster. A worker takes out a flamethrower and starts burning the monster's body, but a tentacle brings him down at the same time. Some workers find the professor's bag with the poison and steal it. The professor and his assistant try to stop them, but they barely get to fight them. Cheong throws the poison into the monster's face, which deeply hurts it but does not quite kill it. Another guy tries to get some dynamite ready, but Akira kicks him to stop him. At the same time, Cheong shoots an arrow into the monster's chest to accelerate its death. At that moment, Kai wakes up and is devastated to see the workers throwing more and more chemicals at the monster. So, he screams at them to stop. As he cries, the monster realizes the boy is alive and gains strength from its wish to protect him. Now it starts fighting by throwing all the humans on the garbage piles. Akira again pushes off a man who is about to throw the dynamite. The dynamite explodes, shakes the mountains of garbage, and causes Kai to fall from the garbage. The bleeding monster reaches out and catches the child with its tentacle before he hits the ground. This incident surprises the family. At the same time, a pile of trash is about to fall on top of Kai, but the monster cuts in and acts as a shield to protect Kai. Since the monster was already very weak from the attacks, the trash made the wounds worse. Kai begs his parents to help his friend. The workers again surround the monster and begin attacking it. They ignore Kai's cries as they pierce the belly of the monster, who tries to reach for the boy one last time. At that moment, Cheong lands a powerful blow, finally killing it. Afterward, Cheong removes the spear and finds all the trash inside the monster's body. Suddenly, a bunch of survivors come out of hiding and explain it was the giant spiders who killed the workers. And this big monster only protected them from it all the time. It only attacked you in self-defense. As the workers drop their weapons, Cheong looks at the monster's body and realizes he has become the real monster. Sometimes later, Han's house is in better condition, thanks to the money he earns by offering interviews regarding his little adventure. He always tells reporters that the monster had been protecting his son, but they never believe him because supposedly monsters are evil. Han points out all the damage humans are doing to the planet and wonders who the real monsters are. Lena breaks things off with her fiancé and asks Han to marry her again. Han gladly accepts and throws away the medicine as he hugs her.